Previously on these videos, one of these beloved characters will die. Find out currently on this video, already in progress. Right now. It was Nintendo Power, issue 192. I flipped the page and there he was, Shadow the Hedgehog, holding a gun. It was the most excited I ever was for a game. You have to understand, when I saw Sonic running down the building in City Escape, I said to myself, that's my personality now. I loved Adventure 2, Advance 2, Battle, Adventure DX, and I played the hell out of Heroes. I had to, because you have to beat the same game 4 friggin' times. But I would play the final levels just to watch the ending cutscenes. Why didn't I just use the cutscene viewer? Oh boy, I've been waiting for this. It's because the cutscenes have no music in the cutscene viewer. So the kick-ass music doesn't drop and it makes the cutscenes awkward.
All right! Our next adventure awaits us, so there's no time to waste. Yeah! We're Sonic Heroes!
I'm scared.
Sorry, I've had that hyperfixation for a while. Totally uncommon among Sonic fans. One cutscene that always upset me was Team Dark's, where we see a bunch of Shadow clones. And Rouge says this.
Hey Omega, did I ever tell you that Shadow is a robot and...
This always upset me as a kid because I hated the idea that I was playing a robotic clone of Shadow and not the original. Shadow died at the end of Adventure 2, and having him come back did lessen the impact, but Sega wasn't going to let the new fan favorite stay dead. But playing as a robot clone of him would have been so much worse than just keeping him dead. With Shadow the Hedgehog, I would finally find out what this Shadow is. Of course, most people were more focused on a Sonic character having a gun. A realistic gun. But it's so out of place that it kind of comes back to being funny. And now 20 years later, it's kind of cool. People now appreciate that unironic edginess.
Bullshit.
For me, the question wasn't, why does Shadow have a gun? It was, why does Shadow need a gun? Why did he need a gun when he got the Chaos Control? Months passed, and finally I just saw the game at Blockbuster. It was the first time I ever saw the E10 Plus rating on a game. I thought, I'm over 10, I'm hardcore, I'm ready for a life-changing experience. I played the game and I was enthralled. The cutscenes were so good. It was like Heroes without the team switching crap. And you have to kill every enemy on the map. Wait, that doesn't sound fun. What's this 3 missions shit? Whatever, I'll just get to the goal. Oh, you get to choose your path? You can be a hero or a villain? Then what's the canon path? Is he a robot? When I rented this game, I maybe only played it twice before quitting. Not that I thought the gameplay was that bad, but because the multiple story paths annoyed me that much. I was fixated on what was canon before I even knew the word for canon. I returned the game to Blockbuster, disappointed by a game that I was actually excited for. A lesson that I've only learned about 3 more times. The game was ripped apart by critics, and I agreed with them because of my own disappointment. But now I see people online defending this game after all these years. So, is it unplayable crap or a misunderstood gem? With the year of Shadow coming to an end, or I'm so fucked up, I decided now's the time. This time, I'm really gonna do it. Let's review Shadow the Hedgehog. When you boot up the game, you are treated to one of the best opening movies to any game ever. The music, the action, the camera angles, the guns, everything is just so hype. Even seeing Vector running on his tiny little legs. You can see such an improvement with the CGI compared to Heroes, where the pre-rendered cutscenes dropped frames. That's actually what happened here. It wasn't intentional slow-mo. Alright, time to make a save file.
I am so ready.
That's how you know this game isn't fucking around. Gunshot1.wave. So Shadow the Hedgehog has multiple story paths, and most importantly, 10 different endings. Your path is determined by which missions you complete, and in order to get the final story, you need to unlock all 10 endings. So that means you have to play this game a minimum of 10 times. I guess Sonic Team thought that playing the same game 4 times for Heroes was too much, so let's kind of play the same game 10 times. People will love that. But each playthrough only takes about 60 to 90 minutes, so it's only about 10 to 12 hours to beat the game. Fuck. We start with another beautiful cutscene of Shadow contemplating next to a tree, as he's known to do. This Shadow still has amnesia from Heroes, and all he can remember is this.
Maria!
You know, maybe don't use the stock gun sound effect for such an emotional moment. Isn't it just wild that the official lore of Sonic the Hedgehog involves a little girl getting shot? Suddenly, aliens invade, and their leader, Black Doom, tells Shadow to bring him the Chaos Emeralds, as promised.
If he says he knows the truth about who I am, then like it or not, I have to believe him.
I mean, do you? Here we have Westopolis, the introduction to the game that you're going to have to play 10 times, so it better be good. You start with this falling section, which is pretty cool with all of the lasers, and I think it's supposed to invoke the same feeling as the snowboarding section in City Escape. But it's certainly not as cool, and it's not playing the City Escape music. Then you finally get control and...
Hey, Shadow. Long time no see.
Oh, okay. Hey, Sonic. Thanks for interrupting me after I got to move 6 feet. So you get control and... Hey, Black Doom. Thanks for stopping me completely. For a level that you have to do 10 times, they sure do interrupt you a lot at the beginning. It's not a deal breaker, but it does make you wish you could just turn off this little zoom in thing. Later on in the level, you can just see the character and they will automatically join you without interrupting the gameplay. There's a mod of this game called Shadow Reloaded that does this and other quality of life improvements, and I'll be bringing up that mod in this video. You pick up an actual Glock, and here we have Shadow the Hedgehog's big gimmick: weapons. Combat has always been something that Sonic has tried in 3D, but it never really works. Heroes kind of started it where you have these little arenas and you use the power characters to defeat enemies, but it doesn't work great in Heroes since you need to level up your character in order to do decent damage. Frontiers would try to do Baby's First Devil May Cry, but this still doesn't work. The whole point of Sonic is that he's a spinning ball of death, so any kind of combat should be moves that allow you to dispose of enemies while keeping your speed. I think the boost formula does a good job of that. But honestly, the guns aren't a bad idea in Shadow the Hedgehog, mostly because the automatic weapons auto-target so you don't have to worry about aiming. There are other rocket weapons you actually have to aim with this reticle, but these are pretty useless except on enemies with big hitboxes. You can use the R button to strafe, but there are maybe 2 situations in the game where I actually use this. The game does open up some levels with these little arenas you can shoot around, and their quality varies. There is satisfaction in hip-firing enemies without stopping, although most of the time you're going to stop and shoot if you need to take out targets, which isn't as fun. The first level also introduces vehicles, and oh my god, look at that. That's like a little Barbie car. Was that meant for a full-grown person? Vehicles can help take out enemies, but they're never faster than just running. I think they use vehicles to add some variety, kind of like the kart racing sections in Adventure 2, but the vehicles either aren't necessary or never utilized to their full potential. You'll notice that Sonic and Black Doom give you different missions. Sonic is to kill all the aliens, while Doom is to kill all the soldiers. This is a very clear-cut way to introduce the branching paths with a good, evil, and neutral goal. Killing the gun soldiers show you that, hey, this floating eyeball with the evil voice who's telling you to kill humans, he's the bad guy. For this first run, I'm going on the neutral path, which is just getting to the goal. After Westopolis, you get this cutscene where we meet the gun commander Abe, who has a vendetta against Shadow.
And every city is reporting significant damage and casualties.
They didn't even bother trying to move his mouth. This cutscene plays no matter what mission you complete in Westopolis, so you'll see it in every playthrough. If you beat the neutral mission, Black Doom gets so pissed that he sends you to the best level in the game. Glyphith Canyon is my favorite level, since it balances the speed and combat really well. You get nice long stretches where you can go fast while dodging obstacles. The arenas are nice and big to take out enemies. If you want to branch out in the story, I find Glyphith Canyon much easier than Westopolis. I should clarify what I mean by speed and combat sections. Speed sections are parts of the level where you can just go fast, like a normal 3D Sonic game. But the combat sections are the parts where you get a wider arena to take out enemies. Some levels are more speed focused, others more combat focused, and some are a mixture of both. Glyphith Canyon is the best level in the game, and I wish more of the levels were like it, and might as well start ranking them. This one gets an A-. The only part I don't like is that there's this big loop where I think they forgot to put a boost pad. You have to start running from the top of the hill to get enough speed. Not even spin dashing works. Speaking of, the spin dash in this game is just terrible. I mean, just look at it. When you don't have the ball effect and you're just spinning mid-air, it looks really dumb. Also, it's really slow compared to just running normally. With good timing, you can use the spin dash to jump long distances, and while it is fun to pull off, it's pretty useless. After the second stage, we get our second mandatory cutscene with the President from Adventure 2.
This planet was once saved from tyranny and annihilation by you two heroes.
Do you think his family portrait is behind that picture? Prison Island is an okay level. The gimmick is that you have to use these floating saucers to get over the toxic river. I feel they could have had these parts just be normal running sections, and they would have been fine. As far as gimmicks go, it's not annoying, and when you go down hills it's kind of fun, but it's nothing special. I don't know, maybe just make the saucers a little faster? Later levels have you use them in more open areas, and when you're not using these things on hills, they just aren't as fun. Other than that, Prison Island is a pretty straightforward level, but the speed sections are a little too packed with obstacles that kind of spoil the fun. C-. I didn't do the hero mission of collecting these discs, although I did accidentally pick one up when I used the Chaos Control. Chaos Control is one of your special abilities along with the Chaos Blast. Depending on which enemies Shadow defeats, he'll build up this good or bad meter on the top. The blue good meter allows you to use Chaos Control, which rockets you through a level for a brief moment, while the red evil meter activates the Chaos Blast, an explosion that damages everything in its radius. The Chaos Control is really cool, and it's useful if you want to get to the goal, but for any other mission where you actually have to explore, it's a detriment. The Chaos Blast can be useful, but its radius is much smaller than you think. Plus, for bigger enemies, the Chaos Blast will barely take out half their health, lessening the impact. You can string together 2 or even 3 blasts on a full bar, so that helps. I didn't realize it during my playthrough, but when your meter is full, you're both invincible and have unlimited ammo until it runs out, which is honestly way better than either of the abilities.
I found it. The 4th emerald.
It looks like pure uranium. We get a nice pre-rendered cutscene introducing Eggman. I like that the pre-rendered cutscenes are scattered throughout the different story paths. Makes them a fun reward when you're playing the game 10 frickin' times.
Those idiots! They're destroying everything! How can I take over the city and build the Eggman Empire if there is no city?
I don't know, Eggman. Have you ever considered a third world country? You know, Eggman would definitely have diamond mines in South Africa.
I bet no one expected this baby
wait
to
a
fly.
minute. How did we get up here? How are the temples flying? I didn't do that mission on Glyphith Canyon. I'm taking the path almost everyone takes on their first playthrough, and it already feels like I'm skipping DVD chapters.
I wonder if there are any Chaos Emeralds around. Isn't that the Doctor?
Actually, it's a still image, but close though. Sky Troops uses the same assets as Glyphith Canyon, which is totally fine if the levels are good, and Sky Troops is pretty fun. It has these nice big arenas like Glyphith Canyon, although instead of the speed sections, it focuses on vehicles. One of them is this jumper mech, which is actually really fun. It's probably the best vehicle in the game. It's slow, but it jumps really high, and you get this nice little platforming section for it. It only appears a second time in this level, and while it's fun, it could be used for so much more. I only found the jumper mech in one other level, and it's a shame that they rarely utilize such a fun vehicle. Technically 2, but I chaos controlled past it. There's also this flying alien, which leads you to this sort of Panzer Dragoon flying section. These flying sections are pretty common throughout the game. They control kind of slow, but it's kind of fun to avoid obstacles. Some of the levels give the aliens homing missiles, which is really like Panzer Dragoon, and these are a little bit more fun. The flying sections are a nice little break in some levels, but they're not something you look forward to. That's most of the gimmicks in Shadow the Hedgehog. Not necessarily bad, but not really good either. Except for those jumper mechs. God damn, I wish they gave us more opportunities to put on them robot pants. I didn't do the hero or dark mission in this level, and I'm not going to for a lot of levels. I can't say how frustrating some of these missions are because I have to play this game 10 times, and my only goal is to get to all the levels and all the endings at least once. When you're just getting to the goal ring, Sky Troops is a solid C+, just because they could have done more with the gimmicks. You know, it's really convenient that Shadow has the Chaos Control because he can just teleport to the next story beat without having to find a way to explain any of this.
Huh? What the?
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. Shadow encounters the androids hinted at in Heroes, and they make you go through this whole level thinking that our Shadow might be an android as well. I like the detail that the androids are lower poly than the one you're playing. Kind of hints that this might be the original Shadow. I mean, the fact that this Shadow was in his own special room guarded by Omega strongly hints that he's the original, and even Omega asks us if we are. But my dumbass needed the game to tell me to my face, he's not a robot. Iron Jungle is an okay level that...
Analysis indicates that it is possible to grind, accelerate by pressing the...
Okay, Omega, I love you, man, but shut up. Iron Jungle is okay. It's nothing too special, and fighting the Shadow androids can be pretty frustrating. Look at this part right here. The platform is supposed to lower, but because Omega is up there, it keeps going up. The AI partners aren't too much of a problem, but anytime I notice them, it's because they're not helping me. These rooms can get frustrating, especially if you don't have a good weapon, but luckily you can skip some of them with some platforming skills. The level is mostly straight paths with enemies on them. Not a lot of variety with the platforming and speed. And you can't really just run and shoot because there's all these little barricades that get in the way. A lot of the levels have these obstacles, and they're just annoying. They kill your sense of speed, and it's just stuff in the way. It's not really a clever obstacle. Sure, you can jump over them or shoot them, but jumping kills your momentum, and you want to preserve your bullets if you get a nice automatic weapon. You do get the really good weapons towards these later levels, and seeing Shadow mowing down enemies with a minigun that's 5 times his size is pretty funny. Iron Jungle is a very strong C-.
Doctor, please, I need to know. Those androids, the ones that look like me, am I?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm getting mixed signals. I know Eggman is a liar, Shadow is in a special room, he's more detailed than the androids, and Omega says the original must be somewhere. But we still don't know 100% if he's a robot. Well, it's the first boss fight of the game, the Egg Breaker. Let's see how this game handles boss fights. Alright, it's pretty standard, going around in a circle, grabbing weapons from the minions. Hey, look, a turret.
Oh, you asked for it. No more Mr. Nice. Next time we meet, you won't be so...
Huh. Well, that was incredibly easy. Lava Shelter. This level made me realize 2 things about this game that suck. The triangle jump and grinding. Triangle jump is basically a wall jump where you zigzag in between 2 walls. They had it in Heroes and it worked fine there, but in this game it's a little finicky. You can do a little run for about 2 seconds after each jump, but what's annoying is getting off on the final jump. You'd think it would be the same as your previous jump, but no, the final jump is this dainty little leap that will maybe get you on the platform. I guess the game doesn't want you to jump off, but rather run off. So you have to give yourself enough wall. But still, it's just inconsistent how short the final leap is. Then there's the grinding. And this level really showed me how much they neutered the mechanics since Adventure 2. In that game, you can hold B to grind faster while going down hills, and you could actually turn with the rails to gain more speed. Grinding in Adventure 2 wasn't perfect. Switching rails felt like a random chance if it would work or not, but it was still fun. Sonic Heroes made it slightly easier to switch rails, but they got rid of the turning, which made it more automatic. But in Shadow, there is no momentum. Whether you're going up or down a rail, it will always go the same speed. And you keep tapping the X button instead of holding it, which is just annoying. You switch rails by hitting left or right, and at this point it's a very simplified temple run. There's also rails that have something in front of them, so they're harder to get on, and sometimes you'll just phase through rails for no reason. It's a shame that they kept dumbing down an interesting mechanic that never reached its full potential. Even in Generations and Frontiers, grinding is just a glorified boost pad. That's sort of the thing with Sonic Team. Once they get a mechanic that's interesting, they either dumb it down in the next game or replace it with something else. In Shadow, the new mechanic was guns. Lava Shelter is an alright level. There are parts where the camera doesn't work if you move around too much. Right here, the camera is supposed to go down, but because I move the camera manually, it just doesn't work. I love the industrial setting and the lava, plus the parts where you rock back and forth are fun, but other than that, it's just okay. C.
Yes, Doctor. You will regret ever having created me.
You're going straight to hell.
This is the Egg Dealer, the final boss for this neutral run. You got a large circular arena you can chase the dealer around, plus a middle area where you can pick up guns and rings. The Egg Dealer requires you to homing attack these buttons, interrupting the slot machine and dealing damage to Eggman. It was at this boss that I truly realized that the homing attack in this game sucks. There would be times when I would automatically home in no problem, and then other times I do this little air dash. Turns out when you hold forward you do the air dash, but if you just press A with no direction, Shadow will actually home in on something. It's actually insane once you figure this out, because Shadow will unnaturally follow the Egg Dealer until it hits the button. This can be a problem in other parts of the game because you'll homing attack something off screen.
Shadow!
Sorry, my homing attack just hates cops. Also, when you hit something with the homing attack, there's a delay with Shadow's little flip right here. It takes you a second to actually turn, so if you do it too fast, you'll just air dash off the stage. And this happens a lot. The delay also means you can't rapid fire the attack, so taking out enemies with it is really tedious. I know you could use the weapons, but some bosses force you to use the homing attack. The homing attack was already fine in Adventure 1 and 2, and even Heroes. Sure, sometimes spamming it was broken, but it was the fun kind of broken. If this game got rid of the delay, allowed you to change directions faster, and made it so you could home in on the thing you were pointing at, then the homing attack would be good. But in this game, it's just bad. I'm trying to actually explain what I don't like about this game and refrain from using the word janky. It's a perfectly cromulent term for this game, but it doesn't really explain anything. It's like calling something Reddit as an insult. You have an idea of what I mean, but it doesn't actually explain anything. The Egg Dealer is an alright boss. I like that it keeps you moving around in a circle, and once you figure out how the stupid homing attack works, you can hit Eggman's 3 nipples pretty easily. I know there's the hack joke of why does the boss expose his weak point, but Eggman takes it to another level by having the slot machine he built in actually power you up, and even put little portraits of your face for it. I think he secretly likes getting beat up by these little furry creatures. The neutral ending is that Shadow accepts that he is an android, and he is going to destroy Eggman with his bro Omega and lead an empire of androids. And then we get the classic trope of karate chop fade to black.
Goodbye, Doctor.
Well, that was the first playthrough. Neutral all the way with the hero ending. So far, this game isn't too bad. We haven't gotten any really bad levels yet, and while the gameplay mechanics aren't great, they only lead to frustrating moments instead of an overall frustrating experience. Although I only got to the goal ring of each level, I only had a glimpse of what the other missions are like. That's not really going to change, since I'm going to go through this neutral path again for round 2, only this time I'll do the dark mission on Lava Shelter. When I said a minimum of 10 playthroughs, I meant you have to go through the whole game again just to go to the same level to get a different ending. What a great idea. Oh shit. For Lava Shelter, I'm doing the dark mission where you have to activate these defense thingies for Eggman. And it's actually cool how doing this makes the lava rise up and opens alternative paths. This is something that other levels do, and it makes me wish all the missions did stuff like this instead of so many of them relying on the kill all blank missions. Doing the dark mission takes you on a more difficult but more fun path, and honestly it bumps up the grade a bit. B-. So the ending this time is exactly the same. It's just that instead of leading an android empire, he just says he's going to be stronger than the original. Well, that was kind of a letdown. There were like 2 lines of dialogue that were changed, and they weren't even interesting. Are all the endings like this? Well, that was kind of boring, especially since I just did the same thing like 45 minutes ago. I was planning on doing the same 5 paths twice for efficiency, but I should really switch it up. Do some zigzagging. I mean, that's what the developers wanted, right? At the very least, don't do the exact same path back to back. When you beat a storyline, it saves your path in the library. You're probably wondering what those numbers are, like 163. Well, that is number 163 out of a possible 326 different paths you can take. Yes, there are mathematically 326 unique paths you can take in this game, and each path has a unique name. Yeah, Sonic Team, go ahead and name all 326 possible outcomes for this stupid game. Sorry if that section was a bit quick. We already went through a lot of the mechanics and the exact same levels. Surprisingly, there wasn't much variety when I played 95% the same game twice in the span of 2 hours. Oh, it's gonna suck reviewing this game. For our third run, we're going for the Slight Hero path. That's the one between Full Hero and Neutral. Look, this is how I organized it, and you're just gonna have to follow along. It's 10 fucking playthroughs. Shut up, you beach starfish. We're doing the hero route. So now I'm actually doing the different missions, starting off with killing all the aliens in Westopolis. I read in an interview that the developers of this game wanted to create a gun action game that emphasized running and shooting. And for the most part, they did not accomplish this. Running and shooting is fun, but it really only works with automatic weapons, and unless you have to kill them, you're just gonna run past enemies. When you have a mission that requires you to kill all the enemies on a level, you really have to take your time and make sure you get everything, which just isn't that fun. Killing all the aliens in Westopolis wasn't too bad, and it's cool that there's a small little section after the goal with the final few enemies. Some levels have this little extra section after the goal ring, and it's a great way to encourage people to replay levels and try the extra missions. But most levels don't actually do this though. The level just ends at the goal, and you'll have to teleport to a checkpoint if you miss something. As far as first levels go, Westopolis is alright, but it's not the hook that a first level should be. For being a level you're going to play 10 times, it should be one of the best ones, not just pretty good. C+. Aw, isn't that cute? Black Doom's little eye thing swims through the air even though it doesn't make sense. The first hero mission leads you to Lethal Highway. You know, every highway is lethal when you're drunk driving. This level only has 2 missions. The dark mission is to get to the goal, and the hero mission is to destroy this alien ship. Lots of levels only have 2 missions, since logically there's only 2 ways you can go on the map. I think Lethal Highway is actually better than Westopolis. The tailing mission for the alien ship is a better showcase for the gun combat that Sonic Team was going for. You got these nice long stretches of roads that allow you to follow the ship while shooting. Lethal Highway is the best example of the run and shoot gameplay that this game was going for, and it's still flawed because Shadow is too fucking fast. Going too fast is kind of a weird complaint for a Sonic game, but Shadow's top speed is too fast for most of these levels. It's fine when you're just trying to get to the goal, but when you have to explore the levels for enemies or doodads, you really notice how your speed can be a hindrance. You can see just how fast Shadow goes from walking to full speed when tilting the analog stick. I even messed around with the analog settings, and Shadow still picks up speed way too fast. A little bit more build up to the top speed would have helped this game out. B. Destroying the alien craft takes you to a boss.
You still don't know your place, do you? Black Bull, I summon you!
The only Black Bull here is me. I'm sending you back to the cuck chair. Black Bull is a decent boss. Use the flying creatures to homing attack him, and the homing attack actually does some damage, so it's not too tedious. Halfway through the fight, aliens show up, and you can steal their weapons. The automatic weapons almost trivialize the second half. Same deal with the turret against the egg breaker. It's fights like this where I wish there was some sort of Z targeting, so you don't waste your ammo on some grunts. You can also just jump under Black Bull and deal damage when he lowers his eye. When you use Chaos Control during a boss, it freezes them in place so you can get some free hits. But you have to know the best time to use it so you don't freeze the boss when you can't hit them. Black Bull is an easy boss, but it has enough variety in the fight to be pretty fun.
Where's that damn 4th Chaos Emerald?
Damn is pretty much the only swear word said in this game, besides the occasional hell. It's so funny because Shadow says it like he just discovered the word after watching Family Guy. Like the guns, it's so out of place that it loops back to just being funny. Shadow also says damn every time he dies.
Damn, not here.
It's sort of Shadow's catchphrase, and it's a shame that he hasn't been able to say his favorite word in such a long time. If he says it in the 3rd movie, I'm gonna point at the screen with my mouth open. Circus Park is the mandatory circus/casino level, and it's fun. The hero mission is to collect 400 rings, which sounds like a lot, but they give you a lot of rings for just going through the level normally. I actually almost got 400 rings when I was just trying to get to the goal. The dark mission is Eggman casually asking you to wipe out the feds.
Get rid of those gun soldiers!
For this playthrough, I decided to start hero and then go in a straight line. Circus Park has a good balance of the arenas and speed sections. There's a section with these twists and turns, and it took me like 3 tries to actually do it correctly. Every time before that, I would just stop because the camera was disorienting me. The only part that really sucks are these shooting gallery sections, where if you shoot enough balloons, you get rings. But because the automatic weapons auto-target, it only works half the time. It's especially bad with this turret section, because it moves so slow and the bullets are so delayed that you can't hit anything. Fortunately, this level already gives you a lot of rings, so you don't have to rely on the shooting gallery. B. Speaking of rings, in this game you only lose 10 rings when you get hit instead of all of them. I thought that was so cool as a kid because it was always frustrating to lose like 100 rings from one hit. I think they did this because the game relies so much on combat, whereas the games that focus on speed, the all or nothing ring system is to encourage you to be perfect. I also wonder if they did it as a failsafe because they knew you were going to get hit by a bullet that was off screen. Pretty much every enemy has a projectile, and it gets really annoying. Oh hey, it's the Chaotix. I love these guys.
Aren't you done yet? At this rate, the entire day will be wasted!
Oh my god, Vector, what do they do to you, man? It sounds like that voice Pee Wee Herman used to do.
Morning, Mr. Breakfast!
This game is when they switched to the 4Kids actors, and for the most part, their voices are fine. But man, Vector was the biggest casualty. They took away all his swag.
Who's this fraud?
Mad Matrix has a really cool cyberspace aesthetic, but it's just another okay level. It has these color puzzles, which really aren't puzzles. You just have to keep jumping on them until the colors match. There's these wire sections where you move automatically, and you go right or left on the branching paths. The Dark Mission has you detonate all these bombs on the path, and I said, fuck that. The Hero Mission is way better because you have to go to these 4 color-coded towers for the data terminals, or whatever they are. I actually like that you have to just use your eyes to get to the different towers. It doesn't just directly tell you. It's funny when the Dark and Hero missions are so wildly different that it's obvious which one you'd rather do. You'd think from the first stage that the Hero and Dark missions would be mostly similar, but some levels I dread having to do some of these missions. If you just want to get to the goal, you can just go to the Red Tower, which I did on my first time and I was surprised the level was so short. See.
So, I see you sneaky rats are back again, huh? Are you still wondering who you are, Shadow? There's nothing to tell, Shadow. You have no past, Shadow.
Here we fight the Eggbreaker again, this time without the overpowered turret. The game reuses the same bosses, but puts them in different arenas to keep it interesting. In theory. I actually like when games reuse their assets because it shows how much mileage they can get out of something, and just how changing a few things can make it feel like a new experience. This Eggbreaker fight has an upper area with Eggman's robots, which is a fun way to get weapons, but once you get any weapon, the boss becomes really easy. Plus, you're gonna hear this throughout the whole fight.
You know what they say, the more the merrier.
You know what they say, the more the merrier. The more the merrier.
A better Eggbreaker fight, although it's just an average boss fight.
Ark, this place, so familiar, but why? This is where Maria? Died?
Ah, yeah, bring it on!
Ha yeah, trauma. Space Gadget is reminiscent of Crazy Gadget and Final Chase from Adventure 2. It has the anti-gravity mechanic like those levels, and while it's not as weird as Final Chase, it still doesn't work the way it should. Like after the gravity changes, sometimes I'll just stop even when holding forward. This part where the gravity changes and you're supposed to land on the rail, the game would make me miss it every time. Luckily I could land on the rails below, which was fun. Reminds me of the shortcut in Adventure 2. But still, this never worked properly. But this level was mostly speed focused, and it's pretty damn fun. B+. I was trying to go neutral for this path, but I wasn't paying attention to the mission. The hero mission is actually racing Sonic, and if you beat the level in under 5 minutes, you go the hero way, and if it's over 5 minutes, you go the neutral way. Looks like I'll have to crisscross for the next run. So because I was too fucking good at the last level, we're actually at the most heroic level on the path, Final Haunt. It's an alien ship, and it's honestly not bad. You have these long hallways where you can just zip by enemies. There's this part where you use the vacuum gun to pull blocks, and it's totally stupid, but you only do it once. It's so insignificant, I'm surprised they made these special blocks that move with only one gun, and you only do it once. When you do the dark mission, these shield things open up new paths that take you to a flying section. I remember doing this level when I rented this game as a kid, and I didn't realize I was screwing myself out of the hero mission by activating these things. I wanted Shadow to be the hero, and he just accidentally became evil. Maybe I just really don't like picking my own adventure. You wrote the damn story. I'm not picking your ending for you. B. Time to finally take down Black Doom. He's so easy. His projectiles are slow, the arena is full of weapons, and the only challenge is realizing when you're actually shooting a hologram. Just shoot him after he does this circle thing, and you'll beat him in no time. For how intimidating this guy is, he's a pushover during his boss fight. Huh. This ending kind of looks like the last two, even though this was the most righteous hero ending. Well, that was our third playthrough, and so far the levels have been pretty good. No true stinkers yet, and the missions weren't as annoying as I thought. In foreshadowing tone, maybe this game isn't that bad. Alright, so this time we're doing pure hero. Yeah, magic newspaper, we get it. So unlike last run where I got all the aliens no problem, this time there were two that I missed, and I seriously went through the entire level looking for them. I kept thinking, did the game fuck up, or am I stupid? Don't answer that. That's the problem with having to kill every single enemy on a stage. It's so frustrating when there's only one or two left and you just can't find them. I restarted the level and I was able to find the aliens no problem. So did I just not go to a marker that made them spawn, or was it a glitch? The missions remind me of Team Chaotix in Sonic Heroes. Find these, destroy all these, sneak past these. Nobody likes these missions, man. I like that Team Chaotix are just a bunch of schmoes trying to make rent, but their missions are the worst part of Heroes. So it's a bad idea to base your next game off that.
Damn, where's that damn fourth dam?
So after destroying an alien ship and getting 400 rings, we get a new cutscene with the gun commander, basically setting up that the black aliens are in the forest now.
Alert all field commanders in Sector B. I'm authorizing full use of all tactical weapons.
Death Ruins uses the jungle aesthetic from Prison Island, and god damn it, another kill all enemies mission. Well, it's actually not too bad. Rouge will give you hints if enemies are in the area, so you don't have to worry about certain parts. That's why it helps to have the companion for the mission you want selected. You can miss out on some hints. But I'm still gonna check every single area because the mission wants me to kill all enemies. That means leaving no stone unturned. This level had a moment where a robot just flew right into me on the rail and I just immediately died. It was supposed to be this cool moment where the robots fly next to you, but because I took my time on these platforms, they flew right into me and killed me. This game tries to do these cinematic moments within the game, but they need you to do things in such a specific way that if you don't, it just fucks you over. Death Ruins is where you realize how much the homing attack can accidentally kill you, since it's surrounded by nothing but bottomless pits, as many levels are. At least killing all the aliens isn't too bad. They all showed up, unlike that one time in Westopolis. C-. C-. Yeah, C-. After that, Black Doom summons Black Bull again, but this time he's just floating in one spot. You're supposed to use this rail to shoot him and use the homing attack, but once you grab a gun, you can just keep hopping on this bounce pad and just keep shooting him. This fight isn't as good as the previous one since it lacks the variety. At least it goes by faster.
What's up, Shadow?
I guess they use this same cutscene whenever Shadow has to go into space. Why does he teleport here? And how did Sonic just so happen to be here? You telling me they didn't think all 326 paths through?
A Chaos Emerald? You've got to be kidding me, guys. This is like taking candy from a baby, which is fine by me.
Come on, they had to be self-aware. Adding glassbreak1.wave just makes this the funniest cutscene in the whole game. How is it that the most righteous path leads to Shadow saying the most cartoonishly evil thing? The alarm goes off and it makes Shadow flash back to his time on the Ark. Now you're probably thinking that I've been taking it easy on all the levels so far, and that's because I have a point of reference for what a bad Shadow the Hedgehog stage is. Lost Impact is an absolute dog shit level. The previous levels had parts that were bad, or one of the missions was bad, but Lost Impact is trash all the way through. Slow turret sections, slow elevators, every room looks the same, branching paths that lead to empty rooms, and a kill all enemies mission. Even just getting to the goal is unfun because the level is nothing but cramped corridors. This is the absolute worst level in the game, and it exemplifies all the worst parts of Shadow the Hedgehog. This took me 42 minutes of going up elevators, going back to rooms, and going through the entire level just to find one fucking guy. I paused the game and looked at a video trying to see where I missed him, and then I forgot where I was and accidentally went through the goal. I tried doing the full hero route this time, but I guess I'm zigzagging like the last playthrough. It's astounding that they give you no wiggle room to miss a couple enemies for these missions, because who the fuck thought this was fun? This is actually the best reason to play the Reloaded mod, because they decrease the enemy count for these missions so you can actually enjoy them. The Reloaded mod even makes the elevators faster in this level, but it's still not fun. This is one I will actively avoid on all other playthroughs. F. After that nightmare, we get a scene of the Admiral confronting Shadow. He reveals that he was a boy on the Ark with Maria, and he saw Shadow being created with the help of Black Doom. Can I just say, there's like 4 clashing art styles going on in this scene. This leads us to Cosmic Fall, a cool level with some bad execution. The idea is that the Ark is falling apart, and you have to jump on these platforms as they're falling, which is a really cool idea. The problem is that the level just makes you wait for the platforms to appear. Like right at the beginning, you have to wait 10 seconds for the level to get into position. I didn't even notice there's a time limit. Better hurry up, you only have 14 whole minutes. The actual platforming here is fun, plus there's little moments where you can make your own little shortcuts, which I always love in Sonic games. But then you get to this part, and you have to wait a whole 20 seconds for the platforms to appear. It took so long that I thought you had to jump on these rails floating in midair. There are rings that hint at the platforms falling down, but come on, this is too damn long. They have these balloons you can get, but they show up when you've already waited 20 seconds. I don't mind waiting a little bit in some of these levels, but this is just egregious. It's a real shame because it sours the good platforming sections that this level has. It even brings back the jumping mech, which is perfect for a stage like this. Oh, I only get to use it for like 5 platforms? God damn it, game, why can't you play to your strengths? They give you another mech right after, but it's the turret mech that can only jump a little bit. It's like they're teasing you. This level's goals are really simple. The Dark mission ends it early, but the Hero mission gives you a real substantial chunk of the level after the goal ring. At least the game has given me a break from the kill all blank missions. I think this level would have worked a lot better if the first section was all downward, so you didn't have to wait for the platforms to appear. Sure, you could cheese it by just falling, and maybe the 6th gen systems couldn't handle that big of a level, but it would have made it a lot more fun. I know this sounds a little petty, but seriously, wait 20 seconds in a game with nothing to do. I think if it wasn't for the waiting, this level would have been a B. Hell, maybe an A-. But as it is, I gotta give it a C. You're so close, Cosmic Fall.
What is this defiance?
Black Doom, I need to know the truth. Am I the one the humans refer to as the evil one? Tell me. I need to know.
It is true. I created you. You are a part of me.
Hey, Shadow! You okay?
God damn it, Vector. Shut the fuck up. I know that the voice cast was changed and 4Kids just hired their people, but do you think they knew that this was going to be their video game debut? This game? With this? Well, we're fighting Black Doom again. Pretty much exactly the same as last time. Most of the other reused bosses at least change up the arena, but the Black Doom fights are all pretty much the same. Well, that was a mostly pure hero experience, except for the end, when it was a slight hero experience with the hero ending. Are you understanding this? Because I'm not changing my wording. And hey, look at that. We've done all the levels on the bottom half of the map. After Last Impact, I understand what a truly awful level is, and luckily that's the only one so far. Some levels are definitely designed better than others, but it's certain missions and moments that really get on my nerves. The frustrating moments start to build up, especially on multiple playthroughs, and it becomes a death by 1,000 paper cuts situation. Of course, even the best level in this game doesn't come close to the levels in Adventure 1 and 2. At least now I have a good idea on what levels to avoid. Excuse me, level to avoid.
What you say?
For this run, I'm starting neutral because I want to avoid Last Impact. You know, I just realized the Chaos Emerald is just in this box in Westopolis. It's like the developers realized they only made 6 levels per playthrough and they were just like, oh, fuck it, just put it in some box. Also, this Chaos Emerald is huge. It's like half your size. For Glyphith Canyon, I'm actually going to do the hero mission.
Looks like those little things are aliens too. Guess that means they're fair game.
Well, you heard Knuckles, folks. Kill the babies.
Good job.
Wait, there's still a worm right there. You're telling me that this level actually gives you some wiggle room with the enemies? Why couldn't the other stages do that? Maybe the larvae weren't supposed to count? But oh my god, this makes the mission so much more enjoyable.
We've also managed to suppress enemy forces.
God damn, you see those feet? That's why he was elected. Was that his campaign slogan? You know what they say about big feet? Big change. Okay, Circus Park, Mad Matrix, beat Sonic in a race. Alright, back at Final Haunt. Time to be evil. For no reason! It's so funny to go the hero path, and then at the last moment you side with the devil. Like it was all a ruse.
Shadow, why are you siding with those black creatures?
What can I say? Black Doom made some compelling arguments.
Pressing the X button while atop a save point will teleport you to other save points you...
Diablon and Sonic are the other final boss, mostly when you take any evil endings. For the first half of the fight, you have to use Sonic as a boost so you can homing attack Diablon. Man, that Sonic is such a good sport, helping me hurt his ally. Although sometimes the AI just turns stupid and you have to wait for it to give you a boost again. Halfway through the fight, Diablon lowers and you can just attack him directly. The best method is to bait him out and wait for this very subtle sound cue.
Still, you devil! Still, you devil! Still, you devil!
Depending on your run, Sonic's AI will just make him fuck off for the rest of the fight. Once again, this is just an okay boss fight, like the rest of them.
Man, I didn't think you had it in ya. I'm Shadow the Hedgehog, and now I am the most powerful hedgehog in the world!
The dark ending for this path is just to spite Sonic. Shadow realized that he is way better than that stupid, dumb, idiot Sonic. His realization in this story is that he truly is a hedgehog.
Wow.
Alright. Well, that was basically the same as the last true hero path, just with a different final boss. At least this time we didn't go through Last Impact. You know, it's nice that the game lets you choose your own path to avoid its content. We'll get to the last hero ending later. Now, it's time to be bad. Man, I'm glad this cutscene is animated so well. Really helps seeing it for the 6th time. Whoa, cool alien. Oh shit!
Who am I? And why can't I remember anything?
Man, this amnesia stuff really just reset everything Shadow learned in Adventure 2. So far, the only revelation was that Black Doom was involved in Shadow's creation. This city. It feels like I've already been here 5 times. Yeah, I'm not gonna kill all the soldiers. I'm just gonna go to Glyphith Canyon. Good old Glyphith Canyon. It sucks the least. Activating these things at Glyphith Canyon is basically the same as getting to the goal, since all of them are on the default path. It's a shame the Dark Mission doesn't unlock an extra section of the level, but not being a pain in the ass is also a plus. What's nice about the slightly evil or hero paths is that once you do one hero or dark mission, you can just go to the goal ring for the rest of your playthrough. Cryptic Castle is the game's spooky level, reminiscent of Hang Castle from Heroes. This stage's gimmick is that these lanterns you light up reveal new paths. Eggman's Dark Mission has you light up these big lanterns, while Amy's mission is to find cream and cheese. When I went through the level normally, I found this room full of chow and was like, oh okay, cheese must be here somewhere. But to find cream, she's just hiding behind this wall near the beginning of the stage. Amy is supposed to give you a hint, but the first time she just didn't say anything. Because I activated this hint, the actually useful hint didn't go off. This game is held together with duct tape. Lighting Eggman's torches isn't too bad, and it leads to some extra areas in the level. Cryptic Castle is another decent level. It doesn't really have a lot of good speed or combat sections, and the gimmick with the lanterns is just okay. At least the missions aren't too frustrating. C-. Well, here's the egg breaker again. Shadow goes through another memory with the Doom, and oh fuck, it's another Ark level. This one isn't as bad as Last Impact, but it's easily the second worst level in the game. Maria, I'm so sorry, but your levels are just terrible. This level is basically like Last Impact without the turret sections. You still get the narrow corridors, the slow-ass elevators, and all the rooms look the same. There's a map. Yeah, that helps. The only thing that's funny about this stage is Maria. Every other companion is like some super-powered cartoon, but Maria is just a regular girl. And she's bouncing through these insane levels. These Ark levels are still trash, and Final Doom gets an F+. We finally reached the last boss you'll face on these paths, Heavy Dog. It's based off the Flying Dog boss in Adventure 2, and even has the same boss music. Heavy Dog is the most milquetoast boss fight in the whole game. You use these bombs to homing attack him, and if you do it enough you can pick up his homing missile. But other than that, it's just a ship. Just keep whittling away at its health. There's a variation of this boss called Blue Falcon, which has a more vertical style arena, and this works a lot better for this boss. Still, both fights are mediocre. Also, I hope you like beeping. At this point, we've done all the bosses, and I think my favorite boss fights are the Egg Dealer and the first Black Bull fight, because at least in those ones, you actually have to chase them down. All the other boss fights in this game are just avoiding a big guy and chipping away at their health, which if you don't have guns, takes way too long. The homing attack is too weak, but the guns trivialize most fights. None of these boss fights really find that perfect balance between the two. I think the best Sonic boss fights are the ones that are kind of levels in of themselves, like the Bio-Lizard, the Egg Golem, or the Shadow and Sonic Showdown. Frontiers had that with these sort of Shadow of the Colossus style boss fights. Also, Sonic bosses should just be a number of hits. They shouldn't have a standard health bar because it just takes too damn long. There's only 6 bosses you encounter in the main story, and none of them really blew me away. It's a shame because these bosses should be something that encourages experimenting with the branching paths, and it's too bad there's not even one that I would really consider good. After that boss fight, we meet up with our favorite generic president.
No matter what happens, we'll never surrender to these creatures. This much I learned from them.
How did we get to the White House? How did we get to the White House? Airfleet is next, and it's either a kill all aliens mission or a tailing mission.
Destroy that craft.
This motherfucker really just told me to kill the president. The best parts are when you're outside and you get to do some actual platforming with these, platforms. This part where you're just lower down on a platform, you really get to see how annoying the knockback is. Since all enemies have projectiles, sometimes you won't see what hits you, and it somehow always knocks you back just far enough to fall to your death. At least you can just jump down and skip this whole part with some skill. There's also these sections with the fans, which is just wait for the fan and jump on the pole. It's so boring, and you try to cheese it without grabbing the bar, but you can't. This one doesn't have much going for it, except an official Sonic game telling you to kill the president. C-. We now arrive at Black Comet, which is just a worse version of Final Haunt. It uses the saucers for its main gimmick, but unlike Iron Jungle, there's no fun hills to go down. So you just go on these wide open hazard areas on a slow saucer. There's so much on this level that instantly kills you. Although I'll admit, this was entirely my fault.
Behold the ultimate power! Damn, not here.
I did the evil mission, which is to kill all the humans, just so I wouldn't have to deal with it later. That's a good sign for your game, when you do something just to get it over with.
Hey, try going up!
Try going up. The placement of the gun soldiers is pretty good, and in this game, killing humans is always easier. Overall, Black Comet has some okay parts, but the saucer just isn't a good enough gimmick to base a whole level around. C-. This run ends with Sonic and Diablon again.
You're the one who destroyed the Ark and killed everyone on it!
I don't give a shit!
Well, that was a below average path. We got some okay levels, another shitty Ark level, and some below average levels back to back. I can't really recommend the slightly dark path on your first playthrough, because most of these levels don't really stand out. Okay, real quick, I'm actually going to take care of the last ending in the hero half. I'm sure in my 7th playthrough we'll have some crazy revelations about this game.
What a waste of my time.
Tell me about it. Just have to make sure I wait out the clock for this mission. A whole minute. Okay, so if you do the dark ending on Cosmic Fall, you end up fighting the egg dealer, and what just happened? Did he run into his own bombs?
It just works.
Okay, now that we've got the whole bottom half done, just 3 more evil endings and we'll get the final story. I could have done this better to avoid repetition, but no matter what path you take, there's going to be some parts that suck. That's a quote for the box. So I'm finally doing the evil mission in Westopolis, and my god, is it so much easier than the aliens. Maybe this is a theme that doing wrong is easier than doing right. I don't know. You ever tried robbing a bank? That shit is hard.
Stop! Don't move, or we'll shoot!
Stupid humans.
Very impressive, Shadow.
Who are you, and why did you make me kill those men?
Actually, that was all your choice.
Shit. Doom tells Shadow to infiltrate the government's database to take his name off the flight logs. Digital Circuit is the other cyberspace level, and I like it a lot more than Mad Matrix. This level is a lot more fun to go through, and they use the light path for simple dodging instead of exploring these huge branching paths to detonate bombs. It has a good sense of speed, and both missions are just getting to the goal. The evil one is just in the next room. The only part that was annoying was the end with these bounce pads. I kept trying to go up them, but they wouldn't bounce me, except for when one of them just did. At least it didn't kill me. Digital Circuit gets an A-.
Oh, Shadow. What a coincidence running into you here.
Oh, hey, Shadow. Wow, this is so weird. Do you always come to cyberspace? You know, even though this game was designed with the multiple missions in mind, they really feel tacked on. Like the kill all missions are just lazy, but other ones will have you search for doodads that can usually be found on the normal path, or these alternative goals which aren't that far away from the goal ring. It feels this game easily could have been a linear Sonic game, and it would have been so much better. I get that Sonic Team wants you to get the most bang for your buck, but so much of the base game is playing through the same levels, and if you try to mix it up, you might get a mission that's just not fun. There's 23 stages, which would have been about a 5-hour game, and there's nothing wrong with a 5-hour game. Usually those games are very replayable. I wonder if someone could mod this game to get rid of the missions, move the goal rings, and rearrange the levels and cutscenes to make a linear story. Oh wait, they did do that. It's called Expert Mode. Yeah, if you get all A ranks, you unlock Expert Mode, which isn't just a harder version of each level. It actually remixes each level, so you just have to get to the goal. They even move the goal ring so you get through the entire level. So is Expert Mode an actual fun version of this game? Not really. Without the missions, I notice more of the game's flaws with the controls. There's these moments with more precise platforming, And Shadow's crazy ground speed, combined with his slow jumping, just doesn't feel good to control. Trying to land on these small platforms made me realize what people meant when they said the controls felt slippery. Yeah, I suck at expert mode, but it's not something I want to get better at. Expert mode saves your progress if you quit, but if you run out of lives, you have to start at the very first level. It's a gauntlet of all 23 stages, and you really notice that the game wasn't made for platforming like this. If you want to play this game, I would suggest trying the Reloaded mod, or downloading a 100% save file for expert mode. Or not, because this game really isn't worth your time.
Shadow, let me share with you a piece of your past. It's filled with nothing but hatred and contempt for the humans.
Hatred and contempt for the humans?
You were the ultimate life form.
Who the fuck is this guy? Central City is... you having fun there, Knuckles? Central City is the only level that doesn't have a goal. Both the hero and dark missions have you destroy a certain number of things. Since this is an evil run, I'm doing Black Doom's mission, which is to detonate 5 of these big bombs, as compared to 30. Yeah, fuck that. When you go through the level normally, you can find 3 of the bombs very easily, but then you circle around and you can't find the last 2. Turns out the level has a branching path right at the beginning, and if you go towards Knuckles, as anyone would, you miss Black Doom's path. But that's not the end of it. Even when you go the right way, you can't find the damn bombs. Turns out you have to go to this wall here, detonate the dynamite, and then a bounce pad takes you to 2 bombs. Not only are these 2 bombs very close to each other at the very beginning, but nothing about this wall indicates it can be destroyed. Sure, the TNT is there, but some kind of crack or visual indicator on the wall would have helped. This same wall is later in the level, and seriously, doesn't this wall right next to it look more destructible? Also, if you use the bomb, it takes like 20 seconds for it to respawn. Other than that, Central City is not good. It's got a lot of toxic waste river that you can drive on, or go through on foot if you manage to keep grabbing your one ring. This level is more about combat, and I know I said earlier that the best stages have a balance of combat and speed, but the other best stages just focus on the speed. Because what's really the combat here? Getting the automatic weapons and pressing B because the homing attack sucks? So yeah, not a fan of Central City's design, and not a fan of making me feel stupid. I can that do by myself, thank you. D. After that, Black Doom tells Shadow that the Eclipse cannon on the Ark will be used to start the ritual.
Now, Shadow, grab the 2 penises on this creature's head and ride to the Ark.
Do what now? The Ark is a great level, if you like flying. Otherwise, it's just okay. The aliens have these lock-on missiles like the mechs in Adventure 2. I like that it gives you the freedom to jump off whenever you want. The dark mission is that you have to destroy these cores, and the only annoying part about them is that they take too long to destroy with the missiles. Even when you slow down, it takes a lot of hits, and sometimes there are shields in the way. But the cores are close to the checkpoints, so if you miss one, it's not a big deal. Flying isn't the best in this game, but this level really uses the gimmick to the best of its abilities. But it's also just basic bitch Star Fox. C. I do want to add that I almost spin dashed myself off a cliff when trying to get on one of these aliens, which is a problem throughout the whole game. They thought it would be a great idea for the spin dash button to also get on vehicles, the slime, and to pick up stuff. They're still doing that thing where they put so many actions on a single button, and the worst part is that the L button isn't used for anything. You could have easily just made L the vehicle button, but no, you had to do it for the button that could potentially kill you. With the Eclipse cannon in their possession, the Black Arms announce their plans onto the world.
Uh-oh. Stinky poop. Poopies. Funny poopies. La 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 la. Funny poop. Poop funny. Wee. Yay for poopy. Good poopy. Poopy funny. Ha 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 ha. Poop 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 funny. Yay.
Damn
fun poop. Poop poopy. Yay. Poop make me happy happy happy. Uh-oh. I think I made a puppet. pooping pants, no diaper, that's funny.
So, is it canon that the White House is destroyed in Sonic, or what? You know, these multiple story paths kinda lessen the impact of these scenes.
What about the people of Central City?
No need to worry, sir. Orders were issued yesterday, and everyone has been evacuated to the safe zone.
Oh, thank goodness every single person was evacuated from that entire city. Really glad you cleared that up.
Shadow, I'm counting on you.
I know, Professor. The ultimate life form born to ensure peace and justice amongst all of mankind.
Shadow, you ruined like 1 million people's jobs with that cannon. Are you sure you're getting the professor's words right? Well, here we are at the final level we haven't done yet. Gun Fortress. You know, for the final level of the Evil Path, the music on this stage is pretty chill. I haven't really mentioned the music because it's not too memorable in this game. It's not bad, just not up to the standards most Sonic games have. I Am All of Me rocks, All Hail Shadow is forever stuck in my head. Gun Fortress and Final Haunt are cool for how chill they are, but you don't get an Ocean Palace or Casino Park or Egg Fleet, and there's certainly nothing on the level of the adventure stages. Gun Fortress is a lot more fun than its counterpart, Airstrip. You got these nice long sections to run through. These security camera sections have you control in a different angle. It's not crazy, but it's kind of a cool gimmick. The Dark Mission has you take out these 3 cores, and while they take a little long to destroy, they keep generating these mechs which have awesome machine guns, so you can stock up on a ton of ammo before destroying the core. There's also these pulley sections where you have to dodge left and right, and I don't know what these are called, but I always like these in games. There's a point where you're running down hallways just shooting down big doors, and this is the kind of high-speed gunplay that the games should have had more of. Gun Fortress doesn't have the most amazing speed sections, but all of its gimmicks work really well together, and the missions aren't a pain to do. B+. Well, it's Diablon again, and my god, every version of this boss is tedious. This Diablon fight doesn't give you any weapons, so it's just slowly chipping away at an easy boss with one attack.
I'm Shadow, the Hedgehog. I was created to bring order and justice to the humans. With the power of these emeralds, I'm going to destroy this damn planet. This is who I am!
God, these endings suck. It really is just someone lying at Shadow's feet, the emeralds circle him, Shadow says he's Shadow, and blah blah blah. It's the same copy and pasted ending every time. It's like when I write cover letters. For a game that marketed the multiple paths and endings, the endings are a really lame reward. You know, a simple way to fix this would be to just have a cool illustration after these endings. You know, something like an arcade ending. I mean, just go crazy with a still image. None of this matters anyway. The Fully Evil story is actually pretty fun. All the levels range from okay to great, and none of the missions are really annoying, except for Central City. Who would have known being evil could work out so well? At this point, we've done all the levels, and you know what? Aside from some absolute dog shit ones, they really aren't that bad. Even the most average level isn't too frustrating, although a bad mission can really sour a decent level. We got 2 more endings to get through, and I am so done with this game. I think instead of getting all 10 endings, the game should have made you unlock every level to get the final story. That way, you only have to do 5 playthroughs minimum. You run into the problem where people would take the same 5 paths for efficiency, but you'd also get more variety in each run. The 10 ending system also doesn't require you to go to every level, so if you were doing this the most optimal way, you would miss out on what the game has. I can't imagine someone playing this game 10 times and thinking, you know what? I don't want to see every level. I want to save that for my 11th playthrough. Well, we've gone through every level and have 2 more endings left, and this is taking too long. Let's just chaos control through these. Well, glad we got through that. Rouge, close your fucking mouth. Thank you. Well, here we are. The last story. After 10 goddamn playthroughs, we can finally see the true ending. This game better tell me if he's a fucking robot. Of course! It was the newspaper all along! Black Doom and the Sonic Gang meet up with Shadow, and Black Doom starts the ritual of the Black Comet. He wanted the Chaos Emerald so he could chaos control the comet to Earth and start fucking the planet.
Those black creatures just warped the comet down to the surface using chaos control.
Yeah, I just said that. So we finally get some actual frickin' backstory for Shadow. Basically, Gerald needed Black Doom to help create Shadow, and in return, Shadow would help Doom find the Chaos Emeralds when the comet arrived in 50 years. Well, it's a good thing Shadow didn't actually die, because it would have really thrown a wrench in your plan, eh, Doom? Suddenly, gas freezes everybody in the room. Of course, they don't show the gas, they just explain it. It's kind of weird looking at everybody in their action poses. Like, how is Tails still standing?
Ah, my dear offspring. Eat and devour these savory dishes.
Back off, you slime balls!
What is that?
Back off, you slime balls!
What is
Alright, this is just silly. I mean, this is the last story. Put in a little body horror or something. You blew up the frickin' White House. At least make those aliens actually touch them. Here we are at the last stage of the game. The Last Way. And this stage is really damn good. Good enough to get all 10 endings? Hell no. But still a good stage. It has a great gimmick where you can only progress with the chaos control. So they give you this nice beefy arena with respawning enemies that you can use to build up your meter. For the last stage though, it feels very similar to Final Haunt and Black Comet. Seems like it took the best part of those stages, got rid of the gimmicks, and just focused on the speed sections. Not the most original aesthetically, but still a good stage. It gets an A-. After The Last Way, we finally get some answers from the Stingray. Black Doom reveals that Shadow was made with his DNA.
Alright.
Black Doom helped Gerald create Shadow if Shadow would help him find the Chaos Emeralds in 50 years. Again, a lot could happen in those 50 years. Then we get a message from Gerald Robotnik. He reveals that the Eclipse Cannon was made to destroy the Black Comet in 50 years. Of course, after that, Gunn stormed the Ark, killed Maria and imprisoned Gerald, and then Gerald went insane and, for revenge, used the Ark as a weapon to crash into Earth. Sonic and Shadow stop the Ark, Shadow dies, and then Shadow comes back with amnesia. So basically, nothing about Shadow's story really changed. The only revelation is the inclusion of Alien Come! Oh, that kind of sucks. All these branching paths and talks about truths being revealed, and all they did was include this alien guy who was introduced in this game? Is he a robot or what? With that revelation, Shadow goes super and, okay, that doesn't look right with emulation, and goes to defeat Black Doom once and for all. We're finally at the final boss, Devil Doom. And it's a little disappointing that we just cut to Black Doom's devil form. We don't get a cool transformation sequence.
I gave you life, and yet you defy me. So be it. You shall pay for your ingratitude with
Can you hear me?
Really, guys? You couldn't have the hints start just a few seconds later? So the way this fight works is that you fly around and shoot the Chaos Spear at Doom like Space Harrier. Like any supersonic fight, you have to collect rings to keep you super. And luckily, they give you 20 in these balloons that keep respawning. The main strategy is to charge up the Chaos Spear and shoot Doom in the eye, and when you damage him, he switches the eye to his anus. The Chaos Spear kind of has a mind of its own, much like the automatic weapons, so even when you're looking Doom right in the eye, your spear will just hit something right next to him. Also, switching the eye is just kind of lame. Like, you attack and then you just have to go to the other side to hit him again. Wow, so fun. I think I'd prefer if he just teleported every time I hit him. When he teleports, he summons a bunch of debris and rings you can shoot at. These will actually fill up your Chaos meter, and you can use the Chaos Blast to hurt him. I didn't realize this until way late into my fight, but it might be a better strategy than relying on the Chaos Spear. Supersonic bosses aren't known for their great gameplay. They're more about the spectacle. The music and the scale makes you forget how simple the gameplay is. That's totally fine, but this one just takes too damn long. Imagine how frustrating it would be to lose all your rings after 4.5 minutes of fighting a boss. That doesn't sound long, but it's a boss with a fucked up homing attack, weird mobility that's just continuously pressing A, and the boss just switching their weak point every time. Even Chaos Control doesn't help, because when you hit Doom in Chaos Control, his hitbox immediately disappears and has to go to the other side, and everything's in slow motion, so you just have to wait for the Chaos Control to end. It feels like this fight could have been fixed by either lowering the health or making the Chaos Spear have a targeting system like some of the flying aliens.
Impossible. I am the supreme being that rules.
Oh my god. The explosion from the Chaos Blast is blocking the camera. That's funny.
He did it! The Black Comet is destroyed!
Shadow, that was sweet.
I hope he's okay.
I'm sure he's fine, Rouge. After all, he is Shadow.
How about giving me back those Chaos Emeralds now? Hey! Get back here, you creep!
And with that, Shadow honors the wishes of Gerald and Marie. Okay, that faded out a little too early. Well, that was Shadow the Hedgehog. Wait, so is he a robot or not? Well, turns out that 8 minutes into the fight, Eggman will have this line of dialogue.
Shadow, can you hear me? This might be the last chance I have to speak to you, so what I said about having created you, it was all a lie. Everyone thought you died during that horrible incident, but I rescued you with one of my robots. You lost your memory, that's all. You really are the ultimate life form my grandfather created.
Did they really expect people to take 8 minutes with this fight? Why keep the most important question just some random dialogue 8 minutes in? What a load. While I wouldn't call Shadow the Hedgehog terrible, I certainly wouldn't call it good. The gameplay is fun at times, and there's only a few really bad levels, but most of them are average, and some of the gameplay decisions really hurt the flow of this game. The missions make certain paths frustrating, the average bosses take too long, the gun combat is only fun at certain parts, and the endings aren't good. When you get those moments of going top speed, avoiding obstacles, or barreling down a corridor while firing off your automatic weapon, that's when the game is fun. It's funny just how changing some very minor things would help this game immensely. Move objects out of the way to clear up paths, decrease the number of enemies to kill on missions, give the bosses less health, and boom, you just made the game 30% more enjoyable. I played the Reloaded mod for comparison, and I really recommend it for a first playthrough. Everything I just said is in the game, and sure, Last Impact still sucks, but decreasing the enemy count to 30 makes it much less of a slog. I was expecting some radical differences in the controls for Reloaded, but they're pretty much the same. The mod makes it so you only need 3 endings to get to the last story. I still think my idea of just getting to every stage is a better way to unlock the last story, but making it 3 actually gives you a reason to replay the game after you do the final mission. I am shocked that Sonic Team didn't make these changes, because I can't imagine people playtesting this game and not pointing this stuff out. Maybe the Japanese like different parts of Sonic games. Or maybe they thought the gunplay was that fucking cool. I know I played this game 10 times, so I am well aware of the irony of what I'm about to say, but this game doesn't have a lot of replayability. Expert mode is a better version of this game, but it's not worth getting all 71 A ranks for. Expert mode should have been unlocked after last story, and then all A ranks gets you a special costume or something. Imagine if there was an unlockable for getting all 326 paths. And it was Jeff Goldblum calling you a virgin.
Turn the thing off, for heaven's sakes, and go outside. You know, breathe the air, take a walk, call a member of the opposite sex. You know what I'm talking about.
Shadow the Hedgehog is the perfect 5 out of 10 game. It has its moments, but the fun is interrupted by the missions, the few bad levels, and its repetitiveness. It's fun when you can just get to the goal, but when you start doing the branching paths, the flaws become more apparent. But it's not truly awful. It's not some Russian bootleg. it still has merit. I've learned to not be so biased towards a game just because it's when a franchise you love jumped the shark. Basically, what I'm saying is that these are the same game. Is it good? No. Unplayable? Also no. Interesting? Certainly. Fun? Sometimes. Your mom? Fat. There. I finally did it. And it was just okay. But hey, here's some good news, guys. Pelswick is alive!